Happy New Year, everybody. Everybody's excited about the NFL playoffs and the college football final. Got to give all the credit to those guys. Tremendous. I really enjoyed football this year. As a fan. Anyway, two things I wanted to talk about. I've already talked about why why you should tear, and the reason to tear is to, of course, tear people out to define them, and also not to get slung. And also, if you got good hand placement in the armpit and the chest plate, you probably won't get a holding call. All this stuff, and this all comes down to the meatballs and the medicine balls, and just being able to control your hands. Okay, I don't see it any differently than catching a football. Okay, you can't catch a football like this. You can't fight like this. You get punched in the face. You got to have your hands in front of you. Now that doesn't mean that you have to always use your hands. Okay, we started using our hands because we could get our head off the block. Okay, and also eventually we realized that you know we could use hands for torque and and lift. Okay, which is also a torque, a flip. Okay, and we could do more things with our hands. Okay, but there's still a place for shoulders. And what I saw a lot of this year was guys using two hands to the blind side, away from the open leg. In other words, two hands to the closed leg. And I think that exposes you to two things. One, a run through. Okay, two hands turns you. Okay, it's just the way it is. Now, when you can win, okay, by turning to the C side, your gap, that's one thing. Okay, your linebacker goes over the top, you turn. Okay, I get that. Okay, but when you turn to the blind side and you lose, we say turn the turret, not the tank. Okay, turn the turret, not the tank. When you close that leg to your gap, you got some issues. And the issue isn't always the run through. The issue could be an intruder, a safety, a looper, also, or just the next guy picking you, shutting you off. Okay, so you want to keep an open leg. And the easiest way to keep an open leg against yellow light is to use the old shoulder roll, the twisting the shoulder down and keeping a free hand. Okay, and let me just show you what I'm talking about. Okay. Hopefully you can hear me and see me. Okay, we control gaps. Okay, and this is the A gap run. Okay, and this is the accordion side, the veer side, and the overtake. Okay, and we're trying to book this area, so we dig out. We'll step to our gap certainly, and if anything hits us, we'll take it. But if this man's lurking, we want to book that area and come back and dig him out and let the guard or somebody else get to that area. Okay. What's interesting of this is we decided that we're going to take a double team. We're going to run a true double no matter what. Okay, we're going to try and get a true doubles, either the guard center or the tackle guard. Okay, and depending on your aiming point, your reach spot, possibly the wing, tight end, and the tackle. Okay, and usually that ball's got to bounce, and you got to push that double team way past the reach spot. Okay, now taking C gap run. All right, and let me see if I can do this. Okay, the C gap run. Okay, you've got the match area, the stovepipe, and the Apache, and we're going to encircle in the Apache. We're not going to necessarily overtake. We want to get that man. We want to establish leverage on that Apache area. The stovepipe, we want to get cover. Okay, and this is where we would use possibly use the shoulder. We're definitely going to use the shoulder chip in the veer side. Okay, and in the match area, maybe use the shoulder. Okay, I'll tell you why and when. All right, let's just pause this for a second. Okay, we've been through this a number of times. Here's the A gap run, the A gap read spot. Uh, we are going to use a skip and cover, a shoulder twist and chip, and rewind and the C side leg, keep the C side leg open and the C side hand free. And it's not just for run throughs, it's for loopers and anybody attacking from the C side. And it could be somebody from the blind side, could be a looper. But as soon as we close that leg, okay, we got a problem. And if we use hands, and I've seen guys use hands, this is a boom boom play. You got to get punch on this. And if you're going to use two hands, if you're going to shove this guy back, more, I see guys doing it against a three technique. I drew it up against yellow light, okay, uh, two gap. But if you're going to use hands here, you're not going to get the punch, okay? The idea, I've seen guys, of course, the old way is shoulder to shoulder, but what that does is it shuts both of these people off. No one, you got to stay together. The old mate, the old Jeff Stoutland mate, shoulder to shoulder and hip to hip and four hands on. And it's hard. You say, well, I'm going to push this guy off to pick up the run through. Maybe, I don't know. I've seen it done, but I've seen just as many hits, run throughs, okay? And, once you turn those shoulders, you got a problem, okay? And, of course, you're keeping the open leg here, but if you're going to go shoulder to shoulder and hip to hip, this guy's got to keep the open leg to his blind side, okay? So it's hard for him to overtake. You got to shove this guy on him, and that's a problem. Now, over here, you've got leverage on the defenders, okay? So we call this a dig. Step to your gap and then come back with two hands, okay? And this guy's going to hammer. And, if centers can skip, okay, skip square, just do exactly the same as the tackle's doing, or shuffle over. But he's going to hammer this thing, and it's going to turn into a hay bale, okay? Now, we don't say hay bale anymore. We just say you dig him, you go and hammer him, okay? But that's basically what it is the old hay bale, okay? Of course, this man is going to check his gap, and then he's going to dig whoever shows up. But the difference is the read spot, these guys all have leverage. So if anything runs through here, okay, it's not as big of a deal. And if you can shut that off with the hammer, okay, you got a pretty good chance. Here, you put two hands on that tackle. Unless he puts two hands on you, that's a different story. He hits the gap. Different story. You grab him and drive him because now you're in green light. This guy goes to red light. He squares up and he's looking for stuff coming at him from all over the place, from the blind side, the C side, whatever. Okay. So he goes, if that guy spikes or puts two hands on the guard tries to grab him. Remember, we want to define this. Okay. So the tackle, if he thinks that this guy is lagging on the guard, he's going to hammer him. He's going to turn it into this thing. He's going to hammer this guy and shove him into the guard's path, and the guard's going to tear him out. Okay, it's not a double team, but that's the way it goes. Okay, but when the guy is playing two gap, we want to keep the free hand, the open leg, twist the shoulder down, the shoulder roll, I've been calling it. Okay, and give this man access to get cover. And we're not in a hurry. Why hurry into a void? Don't hurry into a void, okay? Just put that shoulder on the guy, give the tackle access. You're putting it, you're basically building a wall, and it's more like a box, okay? And you're going to get some punch, and we don't want this, we want this. Now, if you're counting heads and this backer is here and it's a 4-2, okay, do exactly what you're doing here and take a chance on the run through, okay? 4-2. Maybe you're going to get a twist. So the hay bale is viable here if it's a 4-2. If it's anything else, can't do it. Well, you can do it. You might get away with it, but you're opening yourself up to a run through, okay, or a spike or whatever. Okay, let me pause this again. Okay, right here we're running C gap. Okay, inside leg of the tight end. There's the read spot, and the problem with this play, as opposed to the A gap play, is especially if the back's coming from sidecar, he's got to cross all these gaps, and he's very susceptible to run through. Okay, I've seen this more than I care. Okay, so we get these two guys. A lot of people try to get an overtake, which makes some sense if the backer's predictable. But if this guy two gaps the tackle, okay, and the guard doesn't really get a good picture and chases this thing, and here comes the run through, and this back, especially from over here, he's going to have a problem. So the question is, can we hammer this? Can we turn this thing into a dig, okay, and hammer this over? And yeah, I've done that. But here's the guy. This is the culprit right here. Okay. If he's got some threat into that C gap. Okay. So first things first. This is a match, so you're going to use two hands. Okay. You're going to give the illusion of zone, and you're going to use two hands, and hopefully you're going to grab this guy and tear him out. Okay. Uh, if he spikes, you're going to stuff him. And because he's spiking and there's no threat, if there was a threat here, you'd be calling train and bringing everybody with you, or hopefully the quarterback would be getting us going the other way. So if there was another threat here, okay, the chances are the tackle would be able to step and put that thing on, uh, put that on his hands and go. And this guy is going to go to the threat. Okay, some people motion and pick this up, and block the threat, but let's just say he's blocked. Let's say we did that or he's not there. Okay. The tackle's got to check his gap. Got to check it. Okay. If this man spikes, he's going to grab it. The tight end's going to stuff with two hands. But remember, he's going with an open leg. This man's crossing his face. Stuff with two hands, playing as long as he can and rewinding back to the tackle, making the tackle's job as easy as possible. That's the big trick with the stuff. Rewind, okay, rewind. Bring yourself back to the tackle. The tackle grabs that as best as he can. We're assuming that this man is also going to spike to the guard, and of course, if he spikes across, the guard will stuff him to the center, and so on and so forth. Okay, so a lot of people, what they do is they go ahead and they stuff this thing with two hands right away. Okay, and I don't know, maybe I don't know. I would rather see something like this where he uses the shoulder. Okay, he's got his eyes here. He's got one hand free, and he steps deep and uses the shoulder. Okay, now I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. If we had a two eye here, okay, we have an Apache coming with us, so we're going to use one hand to stuff that to the center. Okay, we're not going back to the center. The center's coming to us. Here we got to decide what we want to do with this guy right here. So if we go ahead and dig this, okay, the guard would hammer it. If we go ahead and shoulder chip this, okay, chip with the, twist the shoulder roll, okay, they would double team to the backer. Okay. Of the two, I've done them both. Okay. Of the two, if we're going to commit the guard to this cover, we've got to bring the train with us. Okay, we've got to bring the train with us. Now, is there better ways to attack this front? Yeah, there's better ways, but you happen to call C-gap run. Okay, I know this. If the tackle's in a hurry to get up to the linebacker, you got nothing. Okay, he ain't gonna get the linebacker, and he ain't gonna get the four eye. You got to shut this. This is the guy. This is the key to this thing. You either got to shove him and define him on the tackle, or put him, tee him up so this guy can come and kill him. And if that happens, if you're going to have this guy come and kill him, you got to make it alert. So we would make a four technique, saying, hey, I'm going to give this. I used to say give and take and all that, but it was confusing. Remember the guys at Cornell, as smart as they were, they couldn't figure it out. Okay, so make a four call. That alerts him that the help, if it's there, it's going to be, you make sure that you got two hands on this guy and you don't let him cut. Okay, center, you're looking for the run through. So you're square to air. You're not chasing anything. You're letting it come to you. But you're going to stay square to air. You're going to start with your Apache and square up right here. Here's the other Apache coming right behind you. You might have to stuff him back. You might have to grab the tackle coming across. Do the best job you can on that run through, and good defensive coach is probably going to run through. So that's why if you're going to do this, you got to stone this thing and make sure that it doesn't widen. Make that hole as small as possible so that the center's got a chance. Okay, so that's the way I think about this shoulder. You got to, yeah, you can do whatever you want. I don't know. Why would you listen to me? I'm just sitting here. Okay, but I think that there's a place for it, and in the concept of the open leg, okay, two hands turns you. Okay, you don't want to. You don't want to rotate back to the blind side. Okay, the way we say it is we say the blind side. If this is my gap, this is my C side. I see it. I don't want to look here. As soon as I look there, now I'm blind to the gap that I'm responsible for. Okay, I want to keep my eyes on my C side and my blind side. Okay, if I can periph this thing, okay, so I know if I'm going to use a shoulder chip or can I get away with the Heisman, and if I have to turn to the blind side, I got to know something about that defense. Okay, I got to know something about it. Some guys probably guys that are successful with it. Obviously, nobody's a dope, especially when you get to you know run a crew, say at Miami or someplace like that. Indiana, Ohio State, whatever. But you got to understand if your conception, like mine, is no TFLs. Okay, no penetration, no TFLs, don't go backwards. Okay, to keep that integrity, you got to keep an open leg. Now, green light, no open leg. Okay, drive. Okay, flip, tear, whatever. Somebody's in your gap. Can't block everybody. Okay, but if you have a yellow light, open leg. Red light, open leg. Okay, just the way it is. Now, somebody's going to say, would I skip here? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe. If you're committed to it, especially if your center is a pretty good player, yeah, you could skip. You could skip to that four call. You could do it. Okay. Anyway, Happy New Year. Enjoy the playoffs. Enjoy the college football final. Um, Great. Bye.